This is Jake Paul. Jake Paul is a YouTuber that has amassed over 20 million subscribers. At one point in time, Jake Paul was one of the top creators on the platform of YouTube in general. When Jake Paul originally really started pushing to make YouTube content, he gained 5 million subscribers in only 6 months. That was an unheard of amount of growth on YouTube. Jake Paul was even so famous that in 2017, Jake Paul Productions of YouTube was nominated and won Choice YouTuber at the Teen Choice Awards. Now, I want you all to remember how I said Jake Paul was once one of the top creators. The key word being was, meaning that in the past he was a top creator, but now he is no longer. As people begin to become famous, things in their life start to change. The followers and likes they get on social media begin to rise. The money in their bank account begins to go up, as well as the cash in their pockets. The business deals that they are offered with and the contracts that they have to sign. The cars they are driving. The clothes they are wearing. The lifestyle changes completely. And unfortunately, like many others, Jake Paul was sucked into the black hole, which is the dark side of fame, committing incident and incident over and over again, never truly apologizing and addressing that what he did was wrong, never truly admitted that he could have really hurt someone, never truly admitting that he just was stupid and made a mistake. Jake Paul over time has made his many mistakes and has had his fair share in controversies, but has proven time and time again that he has not changed as a person, that he will never change as a person, that Jake Paul will always only care about himself and his money and nothing else. And unfortunately, when you look at life in that mindset, it can turn you down a quite criminal path. We are witnessing the fall of Jake Paul, once a top creator, now a criminal. At the spry age of 16, a young boy in Cleveland, Ohio named Jake Joseph Paul had a dream once he discovered the video sharing platform known as Vine. Vine was an app where you could post a 6-second video that had genres ranging from comedy all the way to music and all the way even to cooking. Jake made Vines from 2013 to 2016 and had amassed over 5 million followers and over 2 billion total views across his Vines. In 2014, Jake was nominated for both the Vineographer Award and the Comedian Award at the 6th Annual Shorty Awards. Plus, he also won the Social Media Star Award. Now, during this period on Vine, and because of the great success of his Vine career, in 2015, Jake got a lead role playing Dirk in the Disney Channel show Bizaardvark, which was a massive accomplishment for Jake. 3 years later, when Vine was shut down, Jake still had this massive fan base, and Jake couldn't just leave them behind, so he decided to bring himself and all of them over to this platform of YouTube. Now, Jake has done all these great things, won awards, gotten a huge following, earned a lead role in a Disney TV show, started a YouTube channel that gained massive exposure in such a short period of time. Everything is looking very good for Jake. Yet with all these new opportunities, all this new money, all these new people around him, the rapidly coming in fame immediately swallowed Jake right up and changed him forever. On July 22nd, 2017, while Disney was shooting the second season of Jake Paul's show Bizaardvark, it was announced that Jake Paul would be leaving the show for good, and Disney claimed, "We've mutually agreed that Jake Paul will leave his role on the Disney Channel series Bizaardvark. On behalf of the production company, the cast, and crew, we thank Jake for his good work on the TV series for the past 18 months, and extend our best wishes to him." Now, Disney had announced that it was a mutual separation between Jake and Disney, but was it really the mutual separation that Disney had told everyone? It was later announced from news company KTLA that Jake Paul was getting removed from Disney because of the public complaints he had been receiving from his neighbors for things such as pranks, parties, fire hazards, and large crowds of Jake Paul's fans congregating in the neighborhood. These were occurring because of Jake's new YouTube lifestyle, where he was giving his fans the best possible content. Now, most people have no problem doing whatever it takes to make your fans happy and give to them the best possible content in the world. But you do need to realize that you are not the only person in this world. Jake later also revealed in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter that he was fired from Bizaardvark. Man, I really wonder who could have seen that coming. Now that his Disney scene had come to an end, what would Jake be doing now? He claimed he would be more focused now on working on his brand, his YouTube, his business ventures, and more acting roles. Yet, as he was working on these things, he was slowly just digging himself deeper into a hole where there was no returning back. On January 17th, 2017, Jake Paul got himself a personal birthday present, and that was the launching of the entertainment collaborative Team 10. Team 10 had $1 million in financing to create influencer marketing management and creative agency focused and surrounding teen entertainment. Many major investors, including Horizons Alpha and Adam Zeppelin, helped fund this Team 10 project. But then, the day was May 30th, 2017, and Jake Paul, alongside Team 10, released, to say the least, an absolute banger called It's Everyday Bro, the very cringy song about Jake Paul and the whole Team 10 lifestyle. It's everyday, bro, with the Disney Channel flow. And this became the third most disliked video on YouTube ever. Again, I wonder who could have seen that coming. Then fast forwarding ahead a little, on July 18th, 2017, it was reported that Jake Paul's neighbors in the Beverly Grove neighborhood were meeting with the city council members and the police officials about filing a class action public nuisance lawsuit against Paul. This was after Paul made his own home address public, leading crowds of fans to gather outside of Paul's residence, and noise complaints by neighbors were being reported constantly. And then on April 24th, 2018, it was reported that Paul was being sued by Cobra Acquisitions, the company that owns the house, for $2.5 million. Doing stuff like this to a house is never a good idea.
For the views? Oh, that makes it better. Oops means it was an accident. See, now we're good, right?
Now, obviously, from 2017 to 2018, there were many more controversies, like uploading a video titled I Lost My Virginity, where he posed with Erica Castell, his girlfriend at the time, naked in a thumbnail. He received a lot of criticism for this because the majority of his audience consists of basically children and younger teenagers. He also said the N-word a couple of times on video, but honestly, that really doesn't make me mad. I I honestly find it pretty funny and find it funny that some people get so offended by it, but it certainly did make some people upset.
Like my nigga Richie Better. He make the pussy so wet it gets wetter.
Yet, there was also something else that happened in late 2018 that was quite more criminal. In late July of 2018, Jake Paul had invited and then announced the name of a brand new member of Team 10. And this man's name was Armani Izzati. Now, the children and those who had no clue who this individual was were like, oh sweet, a brand new member that will help Jake and help him with his content. Yet those with a higher intellect and critical thinking skills decided to look up this Izzati individual. Before 2013, Armani Izzati pleaded guilty to attempted battery, and he paid the man $30,000 in a civil suit. Yet this was not the end of his violence. In 2013, Armani was arrested on 20 counts of various crimes. These included battery, kidnapping, pandering, which is also known as pimping, and robbery. Why would Jake think that a person who has had a past like this would be good for him and his team, when the majority of people watching him are younger kids? So Jake is now getting involved with convicted criminals. Interesting. Fast forwarding to July 2019, Jake Paul, alongside fellow YouTuber Rice Gum, introduced a new brand called Mystery Brand. This was a website that offered the chance to open a digital mystery box of pre-selective items with a promise to win one in real life at random. They started to receive lots of backlash over this because the majority of the users of the site did not receive any of the prizes that they were promised to get. This is a prime example of scamming, but this wasn't his only scam he took part of. A little over a year later, in February 2020, Jake had announced that he would be partnering with Los Angeles-based brand and development group Gen Z Holdings Incorporated to create a $19.99 per month platform amid at teaching children how to build an online presence. Like, that is really something that can be taught. The financial freedom movement promises to give subscribers access to Jake Paul's personal experience, rituals, and secret formula, and cutting-edge mentorship, coaching, and training. This really sounds like he's giving away the Krabby Patty secret formula. The program had been criticized by some, with one interviewer questioning whether it would send a dangerous message to his younger audience. There was a video made by Graham Stefan called Millionaire Exposes the Jake Paul Financial Freedom Scam, which really goes in deep about the situation, and I seriously recommend it if you are interested in learning about the situation in greater depth. Now, because Jake Paul really never paid attention in school and never went to college, and the fact that his brain is the size of my left pinky toe, he probably doesn't know, and didn't know at the time, that scamming is a federal crime. Scams are crimes that should be reported to Action Fraud, the National Fraud and Cybercrime Reporting Center. So Jake has committed 2 accounts of federal crimes going against the National Fraud and Cybercrime Reporting Center. That is a great thing for his young audience to see. Nice work, Jake. As many of us know, on May 30th, 2020, Jake Paul and a few of his friends had come to a P.F. Chang's outside of Scottsdale Fashion Square in Scottsdale, Arizona. And this was all after a long, hard day of protesting on behalf of the death of George Floyd. As Paul and friends were outside of the restaurant, things started to escalate as there were protesters nearing the area, and this led into people looting the Scottsdale Mall. There are many video clips that clearly show Paul and his friends outside of the restaurant as it is being broken into, as well as clips of them inside of the Scottsdale Mall. Paul did later apologize on social media for condemning violence, but he denied that he was looting and said it was all just for a future project. Yet this is almost 3 months ago. There has been no video put up, and there has been no update on the video. And also, why would someone just run into the restaurant and grab you a bottle of vodka and just give it to you? That's not something a normal person would do. You must have asked him to do that, or something like that, because any person that young that gets their hands on a bottle of vodka, they're keeping it for themselves. Trust me. Then, on June 4th, 2020, Paul was officially charged with criminal trespassing and unlawful assembly. Both are misdemeanor charges, and these were being in the mall during the riot. Now, there is some more to this, but it will be covered later. For now, we must talk about another pandemic that is plaguing the world. And I'm not talking about Jake Paul's content or his actions. 2020 has been plagued by the awful virus known as COVID-19. Schools, restaurants, gyms, social gatherings, etc. have been completely shut down due to this pandemic. The federal and state government have said time and time again to stay away from large groups. Yet I guess Jake Paul is just built different, so these rules just must not apply to him. On July 11, 2020, Jake threw a massive house party at his Calabasas mansion in California, with dozens and dozens of people attending without wearing masks or maintaining a safe distance from each other. Not only was social media in outrage about this, but so were his neighbors and the entire city of Calabasas. Mayor Alicia Weintraub expressed with outrage and said, "They're having this large party. No social distancing, no masks. It's just a big, huge disregard for everything that everybody is trying to do to get things back to functioning." She also addresses later that the city of Calabasas was looking into all of our options regarding penalties for Paul. Now, many of you may be thinking to yourself, well, how is this a crime? It is not a law per se to not social distance. Well, let me introduce a theory, or some of you may see it as an equation. As many of us know, excluding Jake Paul's fan base, domestic terrorism by definition is the committing of terrorist acts in the perpetrator's own country against their fellow citizens. Now, by definition, a terrorist incident is a violent act or an act dangerous to human life in violation of the criminal laws of the United States, or of any state, to intimidate or coerce a government, the civilian population, or any segment thereof, in furtherance of political or social objectives. Now let me share the equation. So we need to have a dangerous act in order to this be considered a terrorist incident. The dangerous act is partying with a large amount of people during a pandemic with no masks and no social distancing. And I just want to say that not wearing a mask in public and while with large groups of people is against the Gavin Newsom's, who is the governor of California, law enacted on June 18th, 2020, where masks were now officially mandatory in the state of California. The fact that Jake Paul is partying with no mask and no social distancing is an intimidation factor to not only the Calabasas mayor and civilian population, but to the whole state of California. There's the intimidation factor that's needed. Now, what is the social objective? Well, there's a few possible answers. Jake may be trying just to make things go back to normal faster because eventually things will need to go back to normal. I personally think Jake's brain is too small to fathom this idea, because if Jake had actually realized that his teachers were trying to teach him things,
My teachers never taught me that.
maybe he would actually think like this. The second option is that Jake is an idiot and doesn't care about the safety of his friends, family, neighbors, or his state, or actually his country. And I just want to let you know that the answer is number 2, because Jake is an idiot and he doesn't care about anything except himself. So that fills in each criteria for an act of terrorism, and since it's against his own country, against his own people, that would make it domestic terrorism. Now again, this is only a theory. It has not been tested by scientists. And yes, I know, it seems like a bit of a reach, but I'd like you all to think about it and just see that the pieces do fit in the theory. Now, I don't know about you, but all this math is starting to make my head hurt. Why don't we touch upon the most recent thing with Jake Paul that has the whole internet world in a frenzy? On August 5th, 2020, Jake Paul's Calabasas mansion was raided by the FBI. The FBI gave a statement saying, "The FBI is executing a federal search warrant at a residence in Calabasas in connection with an ongoing investigation. The affidavit in support of the search warrant has been sealed by a judge, and I am, therefore, prohibited from commenting as to the nature of the investigation." So the FBI can't give any clues, but the CBI, the Commentary Bureau of of Investigation, the FBI's little brother, and Chief of the Commentary Bureau of Investigation, Chief Sir Sloth, may be able to give some clues. So Jake Paul released a video, a very short video on August 12th, 2020, where he was discussing the FBI raid and his future. Now, before I break down this video, the FBI said that Jake Paul was not allowed to speak on any of this, and he just spoke on it. How dumb do you have to be to forget that you made a deal with the FBI to not speak on it and then speak on it? It really makes this video in total look like I'm speaking the truth.
Connect with you guys and give you a little bit of an update about a lot of things that are going on with my life personally, the boxing stuff, all that. So just to clarify things and set the record straight, the FBI raid is entirely related to the Arizona looting situation that had happened, and it is an investigation.
Now, Jake claimed that the FBI raid had everything to do with the Scottsdale Mall incident that took place a couple of months ago. Yet, is that really the case? The charges Jake received were misdemeanor charges. And for anyone out there that doesn't know, and the fact that I called the office of the FBI in Los Angeles, the FBI does not work with misdemeanor charges. The FBI deals with serious cases in the world. And even though misdemeanors are serious, they stay on your record forever, they are not FBI caliber crimes. The FBI would not be removing multiple weapons from your house. They would not have a search warrant for your house, and they would most certainly not raid your entire house for misdemeanor charges. And also, Jake, they raided your good buddy Armani's house as well, right? If this were just for some misdemeanor charges, why would they raid not only your house, but both of your guys' houses with search warrants, remove items from them, and so on and so forth? So there is possible lie one in Jake's argument.
There are rumors about it having to do with so many other things that have nothing to do with me or my character, and the shit that people are making up is absolutely absurd. But with that being said, when I become aware of someone around me who is doing malicious things, they are immediately cut out of my life. I don't put up with bullshit. I don't surround myself with bad people. And if someone does something bad, they will be removed from my life.
Jake also said that when he becomes aware of individuals that are bad people, to say the least, that he is involved with, he cuts them out of his life immediately. Didn't you take in Armani Azadi when he had been charged with over 20 crimes? Isn't he still working with you? Didn't your former manager say that he is a bad person, and when you got involved with him, bad shit happened?
I mean, I would have to assume that my thoughts are that the FBI is there probably more for Armani Azadi, not so much Jake Paul, but I think that those two together, I think that there needs to be some due diligence on some things that are taking place inside that house and revolving both of those guys.
There is clearly a lie number two in Jake's argument.
My goal right now is to continue to focus on myself, boxing, music. The fight got moved from September 12th to November 28th. I couldn't be more determined and ready for that fight. It's going to be one of the biggest moments of my life. I want to say thank you to all the fans who have been sticking by my side through all of these crazy times.
Another thing I want to point out is that the video has cuts in it, and not Snapchat, Instagram story cuts, because those are every 10 seconds. Yet these cuts occur some before 10 seconds and some after 10 seconds. Typically, when you address something, you do not cut the video and you just say what you have to say. Were you cutting out other lies? Were you hiding something? Well, the fact that you deleted this video very shortly after posting it led me and many others to believe that you are hiding something and that you lied in your video. Now, I do want to say that none of us truly know what the FBI are doing, yet we can almost 100% determine that it has absolutely nothing to do with the Scottsdale, Arizona Mall incident. Here are some of the only theories that I can truly fathom are a possibility. My domestic terrorism theory is not crazy and makes sense to the FBI. The fact that in the past, women have been drugged at your house parties, and this could have happened again. This happened at a house party that Jake threw in 2019 where there were 8 different women who were drugged. Or number 3, there is something underground going on behind the scenes between you and Armani. Whether it's something with drugs, weapons, violent crimes, organized crime, or cyber crimes. There are many things this could be, but number 3 is leading to be the most realistic answer. Jake Paul, once a top creator on the platform of YouTube, and even before that, just a goofy kid on Vine making funny videos with his friends, is yet another person to be sucked into the void of fame that leads to bad decisions and poor representations of yourself. As this investigation is nearing the end of its lifespan, we have proven that Jake Paul has never changed, and that Jake Paul will never change, and that he truly only cares about one thing, and that is himself. Jake had everything going for him in life and had a bright future ahead of him, but now he just has a future ahead of him, and that is it. His once fans are growing older and are now realizing all the bad he has done in his time on YouTube. His views are getting lower and lower by the year, as well as his subscriber number is plateauing more and more each month. People do not like him. People do not respect him, and rightfully so. He had chance and chance and chance again to change, just like his brother changed for the better. But Jake never got the memo and continued living his party-filled, reckless, and criminal lifestyle. A quote by Dr. Wayne W. Dyer comes to mind as we are ending this investigation. If you do not make peace with your past, it will keep showing up in your present. Jake, since you have never truly admitted your mistakes in the past, never thoroughly apologized, never changed into a better person like your older brother did, you will never change. You let the dark side of fame swallow you up as if it were a black hole, and like black holes in space, there is no escape. Listen, I know we haven't talked about this for a while. It's been a little bit, we've been working on the case. Finally finished up the case, thought we'd get a little interview questions in here, but we just wanted to say, we want to give the news that Jake Paul has officially announced that he is going to be quitting YouTube. Now, do we really think he's going to be quitting? No, we don't. We don't think he's going to be quitting. We actually thoroughly think that he's going to wind up coming back, and this is just going to be a publicity stunt until his fight with Mr. Nate Robinson, dunk contest champion, is over with. But for now, we believe that he is going to be taking a hiatus from YouTube, which we can only thank to the big man above for that one. But yeah, I'll be taking some questions now. Yes, you right there, sir. Yeah, Mr. Chief Sloth, sir. I was wondering, how did you guys conduct this investigation? How are you able to do this? Well, it's a great question, sir. Me and my team, which really consists of myself, because I ain't have nobody help me with this. Me and me, basically. We basically took care of this, and we just brought this man to justice. Yeah, you over there.
Mister, I'm a Jake Pauler. What am I gonna do now that Jake Paul gone? What am I gonna do?
Well, you see there, son, without Jake Paul in your life, what you're gonna learn is you're gonna learn to mature. You're gonna learn to be a much more mature individual, where you can watch some more mature content and funny content on this platform. You know how your parents are always saying no mature content? If you mature yourself by not watching Jake Paul, you're going to wind up watching mature content, such as Sir Sloth, such as Bo Blacks, Augie RFC, Tipster, and so many more great channels.
Wow, really? Thanks, mister.
Of course, Junior. Of course. Always trying to be here to inspire the youth. Now, I'll take one more question. Yes, you, sir, right in the back. If Jake Paul ever comes out, and something else ever happens with him, what are you gonna do? Are you just gonna let it slide, or are we gonna open up another investigation? That's a great question, sir, and I'm honestly starting to think about it right now a little bit more. We never really know what's gonna happen in the future, to be honest with you. We never really know. But if something does happen, I guess we may need to reopen the investigation.